Hi, this is the bad boy, Joey Janela, and you're listening to the Going in Raw podcast. Joey Janela always goes in.
This is the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, and you are listening to Going in Raw.
Hey everyone, Kenny Omega here. In case you didn't know, we have an awesome kick butt show called Steve Larson's Going in Raw, and they're going to be supporting AEW every week amongst many other things. Goodbye and smooch. Good night. Bye-bye.
Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going in Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to right here at youtube.com/Steve and Larson, available wherever podcasts can be found. And of course, taped live at the Twitch at twitch.tv/Steve and Larson. Speaking of the Twitch, tomorrow's our heavy streaming day. So if you're hanging out at home or even at work and nobody can catch you on the computer or whatever, hop on by twitch.tv/Steve and Larson at noon Pacific, 3 Eastern. Probably we're going to be getting started, I think probably around 11:30 actually, because the Peacock's doing the WWE like in a live way.
Right when it starts, yeah.
We got to do it right when it starts. Yeah. So let's say 11:30 Pacific, which would be 2:30 p.m. Eastern.
Correct.
We're going to be watching WWE NXT UK. It's a wildly fun hour of wrestling every single week. Right after that, we'll be going for subs only, also Patreon members only, and YouTube channel members for our exclusive to Friendo Club TV members. The numbers don't lie. D-Generation X. They're going to vote. So that's good. And then, of course, tomorrow night, the show everybody looks forward to on a Thursday night, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, The Smash Zone. Should be a lot of fun. We're going to try to get.
Forward to it.
Are you on the over or under on whammies this week?
It's back down to 4.5, right?
I think so, yeah.
I'll have to think about it.
Well, you think about that. We're going to talk about AEW's Dynamite tonight, featuring a rousing, very long main event.
Yes.
Actually, kind of like two main events, both featuring MJF and CM Punk, because the match at one point had a winner, and then it was restarted, and then it had another winner.
Because the winner cheated.
He cheated. Darned MJF and that darned Dynamite Diamond Ring.
Heat.
All sorts of heat there in the Chicago area.
Yes.
AEW was supposed to start tonight with Jon Moxley versus Brian Kendrick. Brian Kendrick very recently had been given his release from the WWE. And so a lot of people were surprised and impressed that Brian Kendrick almost immediately landed a spot in AEW fighting Mox tonight. However, over the past 24 hours or so, some comments came up from Brian Kendrick from about, was it 8 years ago or 11 years ago? I thought it was 2009.
Something like that, yeah.
It was a while
It was in
ago.
that area, yeah.
But I have no idea. I'm assuming, given his comments today, that he was trying to do the whole I'm working an angle, trying to be shocking thing. Well, he said quite a few just awful, shocking things.
Yeah, terrible.
That really have no place anywhere. And we're not going to talk about him here because I just don't want to repeat this stuff. And he was removed by Tony Khan from the match tonight. And Brian Kendrick's statement with regards to this was tweeted out about right around the time I think Dynamite started. He says, "I apologize for all the hurt and embarrassment I have caused with my words. These are not my beliefs and never were beliefs of mine, and I crossed the line. I spread the most vile comments without thinking of the damage it would cause. I will live with this regret for the rest of my life. I am truly sorry for the pain I have caused." I think AEW made the right move here.
Yes.
I mean, from a business standpoint, from an ethical standpoint, obviously, this has to be addressed before you move forward with the guy. But yeah, I mean, from a business, you can't be on TNT and expect that to fly. You just can't, and that's the bottom line. And yeah, I mean, I think Tony in a statement said something along the lines of, while this is looked into, it's best, that they not utilize the talents of Brian Kendrick. So we'll see if this develops, if he's able to spring back from this. I don't know.
I don't know either.
But yeah, reading the stuff, it was pretty shocking. I mean, sometimes people
it's awful. It's awful. It's absolutely awful stuff.
People they'll do stuff. I mean, we've seen this happen before. They'll do stuff ages ago, and it sort of flies under the radar. And then when they're put back into a prominent spotlight or a prominent role, it'll pop up. And I just it's just disappointing and shocking that kind of stuff would have ever been said by the guy. I mean, there's a lot of people out there who are Brian Kendrick fans, and I hope he's somehow able to come back from this and provide some sort of explanation. I don't know. I don't know, man. I'm just sort of rambling right now because it's so disappointing.
Yeah, it really is. It is.
It's just disappointing. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, it is disappointing. So Kendrick was replaced in the opening bout tonight by Wheeler Yuta. And they put on a hell of a bout.
Yeah.
Following that bout, Bryan Danielson comes out.
Ooh.
And now Bryan Danielson's been standing awkwardly watching Mox's matches backstage for a while, smiling awkwardly at the camera.
Yeah.
Comes out. And rather than saying, "Hey, Mox, let's fight," he pitches Mox a brilliant idea.
This was great.
It is. Why fight when we can work together and run this place? And not only that, mentor the next generation of AEW superstars like Wheeler Yuta, like Daniel Garcia, like Lee Moriarty. And I'm hearing him talk, and I'm essentially here saying, take my money, please. I want to see this happen.
I'm like, this entire faction sounds amazing. You're just all the names that you're saying.
Yeah.
Look, this was a private thought of mine, and I just vocalized it a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. I don't know why Red Death is with those goofballs 2.0. By the way, I love 2.0. I think they're great. They're hilarious, which is part of the problem. They're some goofballs, and Daniel Garcia is a 24-year-old wrecking machine.
Yep.
Like, this guy is
He
awesome.
just won Bola. He just won Battle of Los Angeles.
He just won the Bola. Love the Bola. And yeah, he should be out there wrecking people. He needs to be with wrecking machines like Danielson, like Mox, Lee Moriarty, terrific wrestler. Want to see him with guys like not Matt Sydal. What's he going to do for him? I want to see him with Mox and Danielson, wrecking machines. And then Wheeler Yuta, he's fantastic. I want to see him with some wrecking machines, man. I think it'd be great.
I think that would be great. That would be great. I want to see it badly. Is it going to happen? Probably not. Mox, he likes to do his own thing. Post-Shield, he doesn't seem like much of a faction type guy. So rather than join up with Danielson, he's probably going to say, pass. Danielson will probably attack him. Regardless if Mox joins up or not, I want Danielson to start this thing.
This faction needs to happen.
It would be really special.
Me too. So you don't think that they would try, at least in the short term? Oftentimes teams will happen and then they will break up. But for the ride, it's a pretty good one. You don't think that this is a possibility? This faction is going to happen?
I'd be pretty surprised if Mox would be like, yeah, cool. I'll join up with you. I don't see it happen. I see this as motivation to start a feud.
Oh man, I'd love to see it. I think it'd be great.
Oh, I would love to see it too. I just don't.
He sort of hangs out with Eddie Kingston. It's not really a faction. It's just two dudes hanging out a bunch. Yeah. But yeah, I hope we see it. I think it'd be great. Whether or not it will or won't, I don't know. I get the feling these guys just sort of do whatever they want to do. If Mox thinks it's a cool idea, Mox will, he'll do it.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, you might be right. Danielson might just go and recruit those younger guys anyways, and then offer up to Mox, say, hey, are you in or are you out? And if he's, no, I'm out. He's okay, guys, go get him. You know.
Yeah.
And then they'll gang up on him and they'll have a match at Revolution. But
yeah.
Good Lord, the idea of dude, Tony Khan, come on, pull the trigger on a new 2-man power trip. Danielson, TNT title. They're not doing anything with Hangman Page in that world title. Mox needs to get it back from him. And then
Page
both
is
of them,
spending his entire title run just getting his ass kicked.
Yeah, man, it's disappointing. I think that it needs to be on a real star, a guy who used to be in WWE. That's where the title needs to be. I'm joking.
Wow.
I'm joking. Come on. That Texas Death Match is going to be pretty good, man.
It is. It's
going to be a good match.
I appreciate the story they're doing with Paige. They're putting him through the meat grinder pretty much.
Oh, boy, they are. Absolutely.
And he's like, his attitude is, give me more. You know, he wants to defend the title all the time. And I wonder if it'd be a situation where maybe through some lingering insecurities about him himself as champion, he really wants to prove that he should be champion. By doing so, he wants to start getting as many successful title defenses as possible. And maybe we'll see something, I think I mentioned this before, something like what they did with Darby, where he's defend the title. Really physical matches. Eventually, it was just too much for him. You know, I wonder if they'll do something comparable with Paige, especially if MJF is going to be the guy that takes the belt off him.
That could be. That absolutely could be.
And
then let's talk about.
Oh, sorry.
Let's talk about that main event featuring MJF and CM Punk. They started this thing at like what 6?
It was about quarter after.
I was it
when
was
the
that
introduction
early.
started. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. So it went really long. Of course, like we said, at around 6:35, MJF was able to actually get the win by choking out CM Punk with some of his wrist tape, but it was hidden under his arms. And so Bryce Remsburg, possibly the worst ref in AEW, didn't see it happening, even though it was in front of his own eyes. He had the arms covering it up. Well, CM Punk passes out. Match is over. MJF wins. It's like 6:35, so you know something's going to happen. He looks down. Sure enough, MJF had dropped his prison garrote, if you will, his sort of homemade. What did they? It's a garrote, isn't it? Is there another word? Is there another word for that?
No, I mean like garrote is the piece of wire, or whatever, with 2 pieces of wood or something handles on.
That's
on
what.
opposite sides.
Yeah. So I think there is another name for it. I just don't know if it's appropriate to say.
Oh, I don't know about that. Anyways, he choked him out with some tape. Let's just leave it at that.
Yeah, exactly. And because I remember that term, but I don't know if I can say it or not. Anyways, so that happens. Bryce catches it for once, does his job, and then they restart the match, and then MJF wins that too with help from Wardlow slipping him the diamond dozen ring, and then the ref's not paying attention.
In the ring at all. I didn't.
No, I didn't either. It was sleight of hand. He was working on his pizzeria magic tricks. So he lays out Punk, and then gets the pin on him as Bryce wasn't paying attention because he's a terrible ref, and MJF is able to get the win. On Punk for the second time in the same night. So Punk has, I would assume, 2 losses.
Two losses now. Yes. So given the nature of MJF's win, use the diamond ring, I'm guessing Punk's going to say, run it back, no ring this time. Like, ring's banned.
Yeah, I wonder
Which
if
technically it already
is
banned. It's against the rules. It's cheating if you use it, so technically the ring is already banned unless they do some sort of dynamite diamond ring on a pole match type deal.
God, I hope not. Just put it in a steel cage and say no DQ. And if he uses the ring again, that's on CM Punk because now he knows about it. So yeah, I mean, I'm assuming they're probably going to run this back at Revolution. Steel cage, Punk will get his win back, perhaps, or maybe not. Sometimes they just don't do rematches. Maybe they'll just move on from this. But we're only about a month away from Revolution. They're not going to not have Punk or MJF on the card.
Oh yeah.
I would think that they would just run this back. We're only a month away.
Yeah, I would suspect as well. Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah. All right, let's take a quick break here to get a word from our sponsor, ExpressVPN. So I'm sure you know this, Larson.
What's that?
But here's the deal. If you think your online activity is safe from prying eyes, you're wrong. It's fiction. Every time you surf the web, somebody's using your device to track your location, your movements, and in some places, your internet activity.
But if you use ExpressVPN on your phone, computer, whatever device, your internet connection is rerouted through a secure encrypted server so you can surf the web more anonymously without anyone looking over your shoulder.
Yeah, with one single click of a button, ExpressVPN stops others, whether it be your internet service provider, your network admin, whoever, from getting a peek at your online activity. That's why I use ExpressVPN whenever I use internet, and all the friendos out there should do the same.
So protect your privacy today and get 3 months of ExpressVPN for free. Visit expressvpn.com/GIR. That's expressvpn.com/GIR for 3 months free with a 1-year package.
Visit expressvpn.com/GIR to learn more.
Let's get a word here from our sponsor, Raycon. So you know, Steve. It's a new year, but not everyone made resolutions for 2022. I know I didn't. But that doesn't mean we can't all shake things up. You know, maybe try out a new workout routine or travel someplace new. And whatever way you decide to make a change, there's no better way to do that than with a pair of Raycon wireless earbuds in your ears.
Yeah, whether you're going to a new gym or traveling to a new destination, Raycon wireless earbuds are the best way to bring audio with you. And their everyday earbuds look, feel, and sound better than ever.
Yeah, they've got optimized gel tips for the perfect in-ear fit. Their earbuds fit so well, they don't budge at all. Whether I'm running or doing burpees, doing jumping jacks, it doesn't matter. These things aren't moving. Check this out, Steve. See, they don't move.
You can even headbang and they don't move.
I know. And not only will these earbuds stay in your ears, but Raycons also give you the audio quality you need at half the price of other premium audio brands.
And right now, Going In Raw listeners can get 15% off their Raycon order at buyraycon.com/raw. That's buyraycon.com/raw to save 15% on Raycons. Buyraycon.com/raw. And before we get back to the show, let's get a word in from our sponsor, Factor. You know, Larson, it may be a new year, but I'm the same busy Steve. I got stuff to do for Going In Raw, stuff to do for Wrestle Juice, for Friendo Club TV. I got to stream a bunch. Plus, I watch all that wrestling every single week. That doesn't leave much time for grocery shopping or cooking. But now I don't have to deal with meal planning or prep. I leave all that to Factor.
Yeah, Factor makes it easy to eat clean 24/7 with fresh, never frozen, pre-prepared meals that are ready to eat in 2 minutes. And Factor's chef-crafted meals are delivered directly to your door, so that means no grocery shopping, no meal prep, no cleanup, and no washing dishes. I can't stand washing dishes.
Oh, man, I hate washing dishes. But you know what? Factor's got a team of registered dietitians and expert chefs who work together to create delicious meals with nutritious ingredients. Plus, Factor's got variety. With more than 27 meal options each week, you'll never get bored.
Yeah, Factor offers vegan and veggie meals, cold-pressed juices, smoothies, energy bites, extra protein and plant-based bars, and a lot more to keep you fueled and focused all day long. You get everything you ever wanted when you're dealing with Factor.
So head to go.factor75.com/raw120 and use code RAW120 to get $120 off. That's code RAW120 at go.factor75.com/raw120 for $120 off.
Oh, you want to get into it?
Yeah, let's go ahead and dive right into it. Kicked off, like we said, with Mox and Wheeler Yuta. You had mentioned, of course, these two had a match before, and they were sort of referencing that. Danhausen came out with Best Friends.
Yeah.
And Mox basically sort of dominated this.
It was much more competitive than their first bout was, though.
Oh, that's totally true. Yeah, that's totally true. At a certain point, Danhausen curses Mox as Yuta drops him with a nasty crossbody from like the top to the floor.
I did like that commentary did confirm that Danhausen did in fact curse Adam Cole last week, and it's probably why he lost.
And then Shivani said something like, "Yeah, he cursed him. He should curse him into using some shampoo in his hair."
Yeah.
Oh man. So Wheeler gets he takes over for a little bit after that, gets a 2 with a splash, but then Mox is able to drop him with just a shit ton of elbow strikes. Wins with a paradigm shift.
And afterwards, Bryan Danielson, as we mentioned earlier, hits the ring. He and Mox have a bit of a stare down. The Danielson pulls a mic out of his back pocket and asks the crowd, "Do you want to see us fight?" And of course the crowd cheers. Of course they do. And Danielson says, "For a long time, I want to see us fight too. Because you're different. Since you came back, we've seen a new Mox. And deep inside of me, I know there's a part that wanted me to test you when I was watching you at the other place when you were AEW World Champion. And darn it, you were the best AEW World Champion. And if you had a little bit of support, you would still be AEW Champion. And that's when I realized that you and I shouldn't be fighting against one another. We should be fighting together. So here's the deal. There's no reason that some millennial cowboy should be the AEW champ. There's no reason someone dressed up as a dinosaur should be the AEW tag champion. There's no reason that someone who creates vlogs should be the TNT champ. Together, you and I could run this place, whatever we wanted to do. If Mox wanted to be AEW champ, with me you could. If we wanted to be tag champs, we could do that together. If we want to teach some of the younger stars, someone like Wheeler Yuta, take him under our wings. Took someone like Daniel Garcia away from 2.0 and mentored him. What if we took Lee Moriarty away from Matt Sydal and took him under our wings and trained the future of pro wrestling together? He says, even if all of them, the fans, don't like this, they like what I'm talking about right now. So this is a lot to put on your plate right now, Mox. So just think about it. Think about the possibilities. Think about all the positive things we can do, about the greatness they can create and the legacy that you can leave behind. And then Danielson extends his hand. Mox doesn't take it. So Danielson says, all right, I know there's a lot of pressure. Why not think about it? And then he leaves.
Yeah. Next up, they had a segment where Brandy Rhodes comes out, runs down Chicago, gets interrupted by Dan Lambert. He just talks a lot. Brandy actually has, I guess, what could be considered a good burn on Ethan Page. She says, Ethan, I don't know why you're laughing. We only hired you to get Josh Alexander. Crowd chanted, shut the fuck up quite a bit.
Well, it's because she said, oh, it's so great to be in Cleveland. Oh, I mean Chicago. And I'm like, especially once Lambert comes out, I was like, why are you setting yourself up as the heel? Do you want the crowd to cheer Dan Lambert?
I don't know. And I'm not going to speculate. Mostly because I don't care. Because when I see any of these people on my screen, I don't really want to be watching.
I agree with that because this was unwatchable. I honestly awful.
But yeah, I honestly don't know. I honestly don't know. Brandy can actually be a really good heel, but like I don't know if how is Lambert ever supposed to be a good guy?
He shouldn't.
That doesn't make any a sense whatsoever.
So Lord Corgi says Brandy likes being a heel. I remember on watching Road to the Top when she was planning her comeback. Cody's like, "Hey, you're coming back from injury. You should be a face." And she just says, no, I like being a heel. And so that's probably all it is.
Yeah, sure.
She just wants the heat. And it just doesn't realize by her talking trash about Chicago, then by default, they'll probably cheer for Lambert, regardless of what he says.
So, I mean,
you do not want the fans cheering for Dan Lambert.
The whole point here was to introduce Paige Van Zant into like possibly a wrestling role. It seems like where they're going because she comes down and attacks Brandy. But I don't know because I don't know. I don't know. I feel it honestly just feels like Tony's like, Cody, do whatever you're going to do. Use Dan Lambert. Like. And then it's just Cody doing his weird shit.
Well, it's Cody and Brandy just doing whatever they want to do, even if it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, which like with Cody, there's a certain amount of like, oh, that's kind of you're being kind of clever. I think I know what you're going after here with the whole heel face thing. When is he going to drop the pedigree, et cetera, et cetera? I'm actually into that. I know it's not for everybody, but I'm into it. This stuff, I don't care about Lambert at all. Brandy, it's whatever. Like Lambert seems to bring the worst out in her because I've liked Brandy plenty in the past. But yeah, Lambert, I just don't care about the guy. I don't care to see him on my screen.
So Paige Van Zant comes to the ring and she goes after Brandy, and the entire women's locker room empties out to keep them apart. So I guess are they going to do try to do a match between Brandy and Paige Van Zant, or?
Good Lord, that better not be a revolution, but I feel like that's
because in no universe, like Paige Van Zant, I think she's a bare knuckle fighter now, right? I don't think she does UFC anymore. I think she actually fights in bare knuckle fights.
You're gonna go here again. In no universe should a bare knuckle fighter lose to Brandy. Yeah, no, I don't disagree. She really do that. I didn't know she does that. She does bare knuckle fighting.
I mean, it's not just this. Like when America Top Team had that match gets in a circle, I'm like, they would pummel them, just absolutely pummel them.
Oh, man, come on! In the universe, they're all fighters.
No,
pro wrestlers are fighters.
Some are trained fighters. Like they spend their days training to beat the shit out of people.
What in universe? What do you think pro wrestlers do though?
They work out of the gym and they wrestle in the ring. And that's just that for me. That's a bridge too far. Like I can't suspend my disbelief to such an extent where I feel like Paige Van Zandt, who's been doing MMA, or any of those guys on American Top Team, have been doing MMA for years, decades maybe. With the exception of maybe Jake Hager, because I know he has some MMA experience. I'm sorry, Chris Jericho would get annihilated by anybody on American Top Team. Anybody. And you put him in a ring, expect me to believe that he could hold his own against anybody out there? No. I can't buy into it. It's too much for me. I can't suspend my disbelief that much.
Well, hold on a second. Wait a second.
Unless it's a purely pro wrestling rules match. But when they did the street fight thing, it was a street fight inner circle.
Okay, all right.
Like literally, American Top Team should have wiped the floor.
I was going to mention what was it, Ricky Dozen versus Kimura? Was it Kimura?
Yeah.
Yeah, Kimura was like a legit guy.
Yeah, it's because Ricky Dozen shut up. When Kimura was expecting a pro wrestling match. That's why.
Oh, man. Anyways, we're apparently the HFO's office is a stairwell. Because they're back in the stairwell. And
Matt Hardy kayfabed that on Twitter, too. It was great.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, someone asked him about why are you always having your meetings in a stairwell?
And he said it's in his office. That's his office?
Well, he said because usually there's no cameras there unless he invites them. Well, he said there's no eavesdropper. You don't know if there's two people, if someone's standing 2 flights up, you know?
Oh, it's so echoey, too. Like, it's so echoey. That just travels everywhere. It's the worst place to have a meeting.
I know.
Anyway, so he's in the stairwell yelling at Private Party. Andrade shows up, and Matt's like, "Hey, why isn't Darby here? I thought you were going to get him signed." Andrade said, there's a lot going on here. Maybe I have to talk to his dad. And Matt said, "Oh, he needs mucho dinero." He's like, "Yeah, maybe."
Yeah.
This Andrade Hardy family office kills me, man.
It's pretty great. So Slim Satan here says, Steve is right. In kayfabe, WB, AEW, and Impact are all supposed to be combat sports leagues specializing in pro wrestling. All the drama just happens to happen. I understand that. Even in kayfabe, professional wrestling is a completely different thing than mixed martial arts.
Yeah.
It's a different thing, even in kayfabe.
Man, I don't know, dude. In kayfabe, a powerbomb that could take down,
I've seen moves you would associate as pro wrestling moves win matches for MMA wrestlers. I understand that. I get it. But here's the thing. Like, outside of kayfabe, I just can't get past that. That's just me. I just can't get past that. When you have
I love that about you, too.
When you have American Top Team, a team of trained fighters. Mm-hmm. And this is no disrespect to professional wrestling. I love professional wrestling.
It's great.
I love the art form. I love the storytelling of it. But I'm sorry, you get a ring full of highly trained professional fighters.
So you're saying that if you stick Junior Dos Santos in his prime against Michael Hayes in his prime, you're saying that Michael Hayes is going to eat the L?
Yeah, because Michael Hayes is probably wearing a pair of jeans that are a size too small for him.
That dude was perpetually out of shape.
Yeah, he really was.
But he was tan, so he looked great. Oh man,
I know. I'm kind of exaggerating a little bit, but I
love it. It's great. It's great.
I'm exaggerating a bit. It doesn't bother me that much.
Yeah.
But it's one of those situations where you have these highly decorated, highly trained fighters in the ring, and you expect me to believe that they just wouldn't wipe a floor with 75% of the pro wrestlers out there.
Yeah, no, it's like you get, I don't know, who's a good basketball team these days? Like the Milwaukee Bucks, put them in the ring against the Harlem Globetrotters. And who do you think is going to win?
No, it'd be more like you take the Milwaukee Bucks and put them on the field against the Milwaukee Brewers,
Yeah.
There might be some comparable skills, but it's not the exact same skill set.
I feel like my analogy is a bit more apropos because there's no way that the Harlem Globetrotters would put up a fight. They're literally the pro wrestling version of basketball.
Yeah.
And then there's actual basketball.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways. Oh, that was a good discussion there. We go. After that, we had Knights of the Black Throne.
Or is it Kings of the Black Throne? because they said Knights on the lower third, but Justin Roberts said Kings of the Black Throne.
Oh, I thought it was. Is it Kings or Knights?
Tonight it was both. That's what I'm saying. Justin Roberts said Kings. The lower third.
What was it
said
last
Knights.
week though? It was.
Kings?
It was some. It was Kings. Oh yeah, it has been Kings, hasn't it? Okay. Well, they fucked up then. Kings of the Black Throne. I had House of Black at first, and I was like, oh, that's right. They have a name and stuff.
Yeah, as a tag team,
Kings,
they have a name.
Yeah, Kings of the Black Throne versus the Bastard Pac, who was doing his best Daredevil impression tonight, and Penta. So Pac had his eyes bandaged up, but it was all subterfuge because he kept on doing moves whenever Malachi Black would try to attack him, and he'd go whoop 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 whoop, and then he'd take it off and he'd start laughing, and they're like, "Oh, it was just a big trick. He was tricking him." And then but it didn't matter because the ref got distracted, and then Malachi Black missed Penta, and they hit their finish. The Knights / Kings of the Black Throne hit their finish.
It was a fun match.
Yeah, it was good stuff.
After that, we had Adam Cole promo. He talks about how he's still undefeated in AEW, and his record reflects that. And if he has to hear one more time that Orange Cassidy beat him, he's going to slap that person in the mouth. He says, my record reflects that I'm undefeated. Even being undefeated, I don't get the respect I deserve. So we're going to see a new Adam Cole. And after I beat Evil Uno on Rampage, people are going to see what I want. Give me what I want.
What does he want? What does he
Give me
want?
what I want.
Give him what he wants. Give Chugs
Give
what
me
he
what I
wants.
want.
He said, I want a new video game. Nyla Rose versus Ruby Soho was next. This is a fun match. This is good.
It was.
I was like, part of me was like, I know. Did you see what was Athena's going to be? Because I was like, oh man,
Warrior
where's she
Wrestling,
gonna be? But then she did a Twitch stream today, so I was like, unless she lives in Chicago. Yeah, Warrior against Thunder Rosa, I believe.
That's gonna be great.
That's awesome. That's great.
That's gonna be super awesome.
AEW would be lucky to pick her up.
Yes.
In any event, Nyla Rose gets the win here. Vicky was getting all in the business here. At one point, Ruby goes for a pin, and Vicky slides Nyla's foot under the rope. They go to the top. Nyla was looking for like a super beast bomb from the top. Ruby's able to get down, but she misses her finish. She tries to get her finish, but Nyla just sort of shoves her off, and then she drops like a swanton on her and a beast bomb for the win here. So Nyla Rose beats Ruby Soho, who was on a four-match win streak.
Yeah, it felt like a fairly decisive win for Nyla too, because she dominated the early part of this match. Completely dominated. After that, we had the Gun Club.
Oh, this is
they roll up on Jungle Boy, and they kind of tease him about his name. And so Jungle Boy throws his jacket at Austin Gunn. Gun Club attack him. They take him outside. They throw him into some snow, and then Luchasaurus and Christian Cage just chase him off.
That was pretty damn funny.
That was it.
Because the ass boys just go running off. Like, it was so goofy. They're like shirtless, and it's freezing outside.
Mm-hmm.
That was damn funny. And Christian's just yelling, "Sons of bitches!"
So
Sons of bitches.
Grady here in chat says Lashley and Lesnar are the only two that could hold their own, I assume in MMA, and still lose 9 out of 10. I think they'd probably win more of that because they actually have some mixed martial art training and some amateur wrestling training. So I think they do better 9 out of 10. But look what happened when CM Punk tried UFC out. How'd that go for him?
Not well.
Not well. That's kind of what I'm talking about.
Oh, man. Oh, that poor dude. He ran. He just, with so much enthusiasm, ran into that dude's fist just square. Like that guy was wearing a Dynamite Dozen ring.
Again, I'm exaggerating a bit.
No, come on. It's great. It's great. It's awesome. It's like me and Christian. Christian's fine, but it's fun.
I know exactly. It's fun. I'm exaggerating a bit, but it's fun.
Oh, man. After that, we had what was after that? I have
it was the Hangman interview. So he comes
yes.
out and he says, I've been champ for 81 days. I've gotten to defend this title twice. Says, I came out at the beginning of the year begging for challengers, and here I am still waiting. Says, I've got a 5-month-old at home that's like throwing mashed up peas at me. There's a foot of snow outside, and my flight home tomorrow is probably going to be canceled. And he says, so I got to do something. Lance wants the Texas death match. I don't give a shit. I don't want to wait till next week. Come out here, let's fight right now. Instead, we get Dan Lambert, Jake Roberts. Lambert starts talking on about what. Paige tells him to shut up. Then Jake speaks up. He tells Paige to shut up. Essentially says, Paige, you must be having nightmares. I think you're scared. So Lance comes out, just grabs a mic from Jake and says, let's do this now. And so he makes a beeline for the ring. Paige hits him with a suicide dive, sends him in the ring steps. Lambert hits Paige in the back with a chair. Paige no-sells that, puts Lambert in the ring, looking for a buckshot lariat. And then Archer hits Paige with the chair, sets up the ring steps so they're sideways, so the side of it's facing upwards, and then choke slams Paige on the ring steps. That looks like it sucked.
Yeah, look bad.
That thud. And so then he hits a
gnarly.
blackout through the timekeeper table. And then Archer says, next week everything changes. I'm going to be AEW champion.
Everybody dies, but he's not going to be champion. Oh, this was terrible. Talk about going about things the wrong way.
Awful.
Chris Jericho. This guy claims that Inner Circle is family, and they've got the strongest bond. This dude was acting like a middle manager here. Like he said, Santana Ortiz, last week what you did in that tag match was disrespectful and embarrassing for me because you wouldn't tag me in. I'm assuming that Eddie Kingston has influence over you guys because you came up in wrestling together. He was there for you at the start. Well, we started AEW together. He says there's nobody more. This is terrible. This is nobody more influential in AEW than me. I'm more influential than like one of the Kardashians, I think, on Instagram. Courtney, maybe. I don't know which one.
No, I think it was Kendall.
Kendall? I know there's Kim.
Or what?
Kylie
Yes,
Jenner.
Yes.
That's what
yes.
he said. Thank
Yes.
you. Thank you, Jorge, for knowing that stuff. Anyways, he says, the influencer wants to hear from them face to face. I'm demanding a full Inner Circle team meeting next week, and attendance is mandatory. Fuck that. If I was saying, I'd fuck that. You don't do mandatory team meetings.
He was delivering this like a middle manager too. He was standing just by himself and doing the hand thing like this.
Yeah. It's like that time we were at E3 and we saw like the G4 squad and the dude, like their manager or whoever, their boss was just yelling at him. I remember it was like, man, who is that group? Why is that dude yelling at him? And one of our dudes that used to work at G4 was like, oh, that's G4. Man, no, man. If I'm part of a faction, there are no mandatory. If you're part of the Steve faction or if Steve's joining your stable or faction or whatever, guess what? If team meetings is part of that, mandatory team meetings,
pass.
No.
Hard no.
There's no meeting that can't be accomplished versus email. Just send an email.
Exactly.
Just send an email.
Or
if I want to hang out with you, I'll hang out with you.
Exactly. But just like the staging of it was very awkward and very formal. That's why I thought it felt like, he had his hands like this and was kind of talking like this, pointing his hands out like that. Yeah,
right?
Which is very un-Jericho.
No.
He doesn't do that, It felt very middle manager.
And where the hell has Jake Hager been anyways?
Yeah, I don't know.
What's that guy's deal? Why hasn't Jericho talked to him? Say, hey, Hager.
Ortiz have been around.
Put on a polo. Come to work at some point. No, man. I hope Santana Ortiz and Kingston just fuck him up.
I hope so, too.
Oh, man.
Beat the heck out of him. We got a quick little Jay Lethal, Ricky Starks recap. There's a FTW title match happening on Rampage.
Ricky Starks.
And then we get to our main event, MJF versus CM Punk. They gave this match a ton of time. They told a pretty damn good story. CM Punk was basically falling apart by the time this match was ending and gutting through. I liked that early on, especially before the first false finish.
Yeah.
That Punk was playing way too much to the crowd. He was in his hometown. He was getting the crowd into it. But there's a couple opportunities that he let his advantage turn to disadvantage because he was playing to the crowd too much.
Yeah.
It was his hubris. Like he gets some wins under his belt after being gone for 7 years, and he thinks, okay, I'm still the top guy around here. Wrong.
Do you like that seemingly every week there is a front row AEW guy who just bugs the shit out of me because he's in front of somebody. He's in front of a lot of people because he's front row, and they got a big ass sign. And this time it was especially egregious because it said flash sale at AEWshop.com.
I saw that.
And the guy had a Pro Wrestling Tees hoodie on.
I saw that.
Hey, man, listen, There are people behind you. Yeah, blue shirt. Yeah.
Is it not bad enough that they, like AEW already runs banners during the show on the screen to advertise the sale? If I thought about it hard enough, I could probably remember the promo code because they ran it.
Now, look, if this was somebody with like, I know Matthew loves all the, Metal Gear Solid, whatever was a better game than whatever. I'm cool with that. As long as you're not standing up the entire time and doing this the entire time in front row because there's people behind you.
Yes.
But you want to put out your sign. I love signs. All the signs you want, right?
Yeah.
But it's literally just the corporation that does their merch.
I know. I saw it too, and it annoyed me.
Mm-hmm.
It annoyed me.
Yeah, like I can't stand that stuff.
Yeah,
I mean, if they want to be real with it, they should have been like, Pro Wrestling Tees, email us your social security number and your credit card info.
Oof.
Oh man, yeah, no, that's why I can't. I'm not a hypocrite on signs. Maggie talking about that awesome lacegems.com sign that they put up there. That was great. Kaufman got some heat from some old lady, but apparently it wasn't lady behind. It was like she was a little ways away, and she was just upset that he had a sign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, by his account, he was trying to be considerate about it.
He was being considerate, man. Friendos are cool.
Yep, you got that right.
But that Pro Wrestling Tees sign guy in the front, no, man. Come on, there's people behind you. He's going to be there probably at Rampage there, too.
Of course, because they're shooting it right now. Or it's just got over with. So the first fall, kind of. So let me backtrack a bit. So MJF is really working over Punk's arm. Of course, soften him up for the Fujiwara armbar. Eventually, though, he gets a piece of tape. Let me go back a little bit. So MJF's working the arm. Punk counters with a Pepsi twist. He calls for the GTS. Instead, MJF pulls the ref into Punk's path. So Punk takes Bryce and leads him to the opposite corner. And when he comes back, MJF chokes Punk out with a piece of tape and then wraps his arms around it to make it look like a sleeper. And so Punk tries to power MJF for a GTS, but no, his legs give out. MJF locks on body scissors too. Ref goes down to check Punk's arm, lifts it up 3 times. Punk's out. MJF wins. But when Remsburg raises MJF's arm, the piece of tape falls out.
Yeah.
And Remsburg's like, "Whoa, what is this?"
What's that?
He says to the Justin Roberts, "We're restarting the match. Sorry, continuing the match." MJF pushes Remsburg. Remsburg pushes him back right into a Punk roll up. MJF kicks out. And then the match continues for another 20 minutes, basically. MJF did a pretty masterful job of avoiding a GTS. Every time Punk called for it, MJF rolled to the apron. Every time he was in position, he had a counter for it. And by the end of this match, Punk was selling an arm and leg. He had a suicide dive at one point and sold leg after that after landing on his knee. So, MJF was working like 2 different body parts. At one point, Punk hits a poison Rana, and MJF is just screaming out in pain for a good stretch, talking about how his neck hurts. So then Punk is calling for a go to sleep. So MJF tumbles out of the ring. Wardlow walks down. So Punk rolls down to the floor to get MJF or to confront Wardlow, one of the two. So Wardlow stops, looks down at MJF, steps over him, and gets in Punk's face. And they have a stare down for a bit. And then Wardlow just steps away. So Punk puts MJF back in the ring, but he's still wary of Wardlow when he gets back in himself. And so he's turned around, distracted by him. While all this is happening, Wardlow very slyly passes that diamond ring to MJF.
Yeah, right, yeah.
MJF puts it on as soon as Punk turns around while the ref's not looking still. Bang. Hits him with it. Puts it in his trunks. Pins him to get the win.
Yeah. I was trying to think the last time this happened with MJF in that ring, and I remember it was Darby Allin at Full Gear. Sorry, I looked it up. I didn't remember that, but I remember the incident.
Could have fooled me.
That's why I looked it up.
I think they mentioned it during the show, too.
Okay. And they didn't run that back. But that was kind of a very specific story beat accomplishment for MJF. So this might be a different situation. That happened at a pay-per-view. We're on a build to a pay-per-view right now. So maybe they will run this back. I'm assuming we're going to find out maybe if they do a video package as soon as Rampage, but more likely next Dynamite, we'll see where Punk and MJF are. Maybe they'll mention something on Twitter. Who knows?
Yeah, could be.
Anyways,
Could be.
let's go ahead and answer some questions here on the Patreon. Let's see here. Dynamite QA thread. All right. Let's see here. Oh, great. Glorious Steve Klain. Which wrestler do you think has too many nicknames? None of them. The more nicknames, the better. That's how I feel.
Miku asks, who could you see becoming 10-0 in MMA from WBAEW? I know Thunder Rosa has some MMA training. I don't know what her record is professionally.
Yeah.
Like I know Malachi has some kickboxing training.
Yeah.
I don't know how he would fare in the octagon though.
No idea. I mean,
like I know a lot of wrestlers have it training in various, martial arts or mixed martial art training.
Yeah.
But when you dedicate your whole life to training for that one thing, you're probably going to be pretty decent at it against somebody who just might do it part time.
Yeah. Let's see here. Soak and Rose. When do you see Cody finally winning the AEW World Title?
I don't know. Because it still feels like MJF is next.
I mean, him and MJF have a lot of history, but they would both be bad guys if that's the case.
Mm-hmm.
Unless Cody keeps doing this thing. That's a possibility. Like, if I had to bet on it, I would say what Organ Grinder just said here in chat, never. Yeah. I would say that would actually never happen.
And also just based on the depth they have in the main event scene now. You got Paige, you got Kenny when he comes back, you got Mox, you got Danielson, you got Cole, you got MJF.
Yeah.
Punk.
Yeah.
That's just 7 names I've listed off the top of my head.
Yeah, and yeah, they just keep on. I mean, if Keith Lee ends up in the company,
if they build up, you can build up Malachi, Penta, Pac.
Oh man, dude,
Phoenix.
They're loaded.
Pike up another 10 names.
Yeah, right. Bear Country Guy 1, Bear Country Guy 2.
Well, they have this Bronson and Boulder, I believe.
Yeah, those guys also. That's 2 more guys.
Yeah.
Dan Lambert.
No.
Josh Alexander. Steven Dunnigan. Besides Future of Wrestling, what are some other solid tag faction? No, I like that. Future of Wrestling.
It's good.
It's a good faction name right there.
It is a really good faction.
Oh, man. Dude, how can I forget? AFG says, don't forget the Pillmans. Griff Pillman and the other Pillman. Pillman.
Yeah.
Pillman Prime. The Yellow Flash. Which singles wrestlers should be in a tag team and which tag team should split up? Well, Bear Country should split up.
You think so?
And they'll just become Bear Country Guy 1 and Bear Country Guy 2.
Who has the more upside in Bear Country in your estimation, Steve?
Well, is one of the guys like a grizzly and one guy's like a black bear?
I don't believe so.
Because I think one is probably more ferocious than the other.
Okay. But which one, though? That's what I'm asking.
Well, I can go back to the thing. I would think the one that would attack you even if you're playing dead is the more ferocious one.
Yeah, but which member of Bear Country is that? That's my question.
Oh, probably Bear Country Guy 2. I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Jorge D says, so what's the end game with this Kip Sabian in the front row with the box stuff? He has legit been there for like half a year, and barely now the camera focuses on him. I don't know.
So far, Steve hasn't focused on him once because I just hear about this.
He's got a shirt.
I've actually seen it. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Hugh Longheavy asked, do you guys know any ways to recover from deep financial ruin after investing my life savings into a wrestling-based cryptocurrency that turned out to be a scam?
Oh, man. Use credit cards.
That's a terrible idea.
Use credit cards. The APRs are not that high these days.
Well, they're pretty high. Don't take financial advice from Steve. Anansi says, would Punk MJF been better if it went to a time limit draw? No, MJF needed to win.
No, they need a moratorium on time limit draws.
MJF need to win that match.
Lee Moriarty should have a finisher called the Moratorium.
That would be great.
Because he's
That's a good idea.
stopping you.
Yeah, that's good.
He's putting a stop to
I think
you.
that's really clever, in fact.
Right? Isn't that great?
And I'm not being sarcastic in the least. I think that's actually quite clever.
Oh, he hit him with the Moratorium.
This match is over.
That's the end of that. That's the end of Bear Country Guy 2. He just lost to the Moratorium.
Yeah.
Lee Moriarty, part of the Future of Wrestling faction.
G. Hayes says, is it bad that I'm trying to get my wife to let me buy 5 tickets to Revolution for my son and his friends for his birthday so I can go?
You're ambitious, D. Hayes. That is hugely ambitious.
That is very
Why don't you
ambitious.
just you say, hey, I'm taking the kid. You get 2 tickets there. But now you gotta like figure out it's you, your son, and 3 other little kids. You gotta like keep tabs on them.
Or you
What
could,
if like one of them needs to use the restroom? You got to take everybody to the restroom with you. Mm-hmm. That's no good. Don't
or
do
you
that.
could you can get one of those inflatable screens and put in the backyard. It's not the
That
same as going
sounds
to the show.
awesome.
And then project the show out there.
That sounds great.
That would be fun.
You eat some popcorn. That sounds awesome. Some chocolate muffins. Let's see here. Mayor of Planet Houston. Do you think it's good for a title's lineage to have certain wrestlers hold the title just to say so and so is champion? Like WWE having Goldberg hold the Universal Champion. Should AEW have guys like Sting hold the title to add him to the lineage, or they find the way they are now and using newer guys? Well, here's the thing. They're not just using newer guys. Like AEW title has had, the TNT title has had Cody, it's had Miro. Those are older guys. It's also had Sammy and Darby Allin, newer guys. AEW World title has had Mox, older guy. I think they're mixing them. I do kind of feel like you want to keep it to relevance, though. I don't think that just adding Sting to put him in the lineage, I don't think that's a great idea.
Short of inventing a time machine to get Sting 1991 to hold the title. No. You shouldn't just put Sting... Give this belt to Sting so Sting has the belt, so you have his name attached to the lineage of the belt, because it's Sting in 2022.
Is 91 what you would use? Is that where you'd go?
I just pulled a couple of years after he had that match against Ric Flair that made him a star.
I would probably go with like 97, right before the Starrcade match. He was and then the Starrcade match killed him.
Yeah,
I would go with that. But that's a bias, too, because I wasn't watching in 91. The only time I watched WCW 91 is the Hulk Kick and Bottom channel. Mm-hmm. Anyways, that's going to do it for the show today. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate it. Thanks to everybody for all these great gifted subs. Got us to our sub goal today. We're going to be back tomorrow on Twitch pretty much all day long. So thanks, everybody. Till next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.